Hello, dear friends. Here we are. Oh, happy day. It's a happy day. You know why? Let me show it to you, okay? Happy day because we're here to 30 days of inner journey. 30 days. This is day 24. Day 24 about humility. And this book, Thought and Life by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier, brings to us a new paradigm for our lives. And you know why it's a happy day? Because we're together. And look who is here. Da, 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 da.
Hello.
Aha,
We're happy to be with you.
Valeria is here too.
Hi, Valeria.
All right. Mark, Smith and Carol Correa, they are here. Can you believe it? Yes. They volitated from Delaware. That's how they came about. Ay, ay, ay. We're already there. Only Spiritism can make miracles. No, I didn't say it. If you heard that, it was just a joke. We're not promising any miracles here. But this is to double check. Here we have 30 days of inner journey. And it's a happy day. Happy Friday. Yeah, Friday is also a happy day. Let me say hi to all of our friends before we begin reading this chapter that is unique. Leonor, hello. And Adilson. Adilson, thank you. Got your message. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And Rihanna. How is South Africa? South Africa, right? North America, yes. Valeria, can't believe it. You are so disciplined, Valeria. Sunshine, let it shine, let it shine. And Rita de Cássia, Constance, hello. Jussara, yay. Tuani, and I bet Luciana is there. Maria Edith, Raquel, gratitude always. Valeria saying hi. Yeah. And Rita is saying, it's good to see you, Carol. Let's sing a song tonight.
You got it.
You got it. Anything at all. You got it. Hello, Felipe. And Joyce, Marco, and Daniel. Friends, today the chapter is humility. And Benjamin Franklin is a loving mentor in the Spiritist movement. And he taught us that humility is a must. But he said, you know, I wasn't that good at it. So, who is but Jesus? So he's here, Mr. Humility. He can teach us. And we're saying this in a funny tone because it's tough. If we take it like with the gravity of the issue, we're gonna be we're gonna be depressed, but we don't want to be depressed because we're far from it. It doesn't matter. What matters is we want to feel the scripture to put it in practice, okay? Ready? Carrie and Mark are here. They can say, ready?
Ready,
Set
and
go.
They do cardiac radio for kids, and I tell you, it's for kids and for the whole world. So enjoy. Hello, Leah. Humility. This book, dear community, this book is really a book we should have on our nightstand and read it, study it every night. Because it brings to us, in Emmanuel's words in the introduction, directives, instructions given in our schools of regeneration to those preparing for a new birth. We're already here. Can't escape. But we can fine-tune to make sure we don't miss this opportunity. Each reincarnation is so important, but this one is unique because finally we understand why we're here. Finally, we have the tools to operate in this life with greater ease and fulfill God's to-do list. We've learned that our to-do list, we remember, we tear it apart, right?
Yes.
Our to-do list is over. It's God's to-do list. But in order to know more what to do, we need to study, instruct ourselves, and love one another. Let us listen from Emmanuel, because he summarizes it very, very objectively. Okay, shall we? Humility, chapter 24. Humility through divine power is magnificently manifested in all of the kingdoms of nature that are the exact expression of the throne of God, thus promoting renewal and progress. The sun, despite its greatness, touches the muddy swamp every day without complaining. The flower silently perfumes the air. By streaming through the rocks, water is filtered to attain greater purity, and not long after a natural catastrophe, the grass again covers the fields, bidding people to resume their work. Whenever there is lack of humility, that is essentially the acknowledgement of our smallness before the universe. The result is a blockage of one's feelings, leading to manifestations such as pride, covetousness, selfishness, and vanity, that are responsible for discord and all sorts of delinquency. Without the mental reflex of humility, that is a divine attribute in our ego, people may imagine that they are the exclusive owner of the goods around them, oblivious of their primary nature as spirits who travel on the path of evolution. They rule their existence in a selfish way and transform their souls into towers of illusion, locking themselves inside and refusing any contact with the realities of life. Because these people are controlled by the spell of their negative attitudes, they rebel against anyone who tries to convince them to make better use of their time. Seeing that without humility, we're often unable to free ourselves from the trauma of shadows to which we may have remained attached upon reaching the dawn of reason, resulting from the animal kingdom that we should have left behind. When people are ruled by the limiting spirit of materialism, they are easily drawn into feelings of despair, jealousy, resentment, and intemperance that cause psychic tension. Dangerous syndromes of an organic nature may also follow, such as depressive and emotional disturbances, ulceration, and cellular dysfunction, not to mention the unfortunate events of everyday life. Lack of humility can drive people to acts of insanity when faced by passionate conflicts. People who wear the crown of humility will gladly work and serve for the general good. They will bring harmony to their being by expressing in themselves the divine laws which never make a show of the bounties they pour upon all. Humility is not subservience. It is primarily independence, an inner freedom springing from the depths of one's spirit, sustaining its continuous renewal towards goodness. To cultivate humility is to advance without attachment, to project the best of oneself towards others, to forget all evil and joyfully begin once more the task of love, in order to reflect humility from heaven to earth. For redemption and beauty, the Christ of God was born in a manger, covered with straw, and bid farewell to men on the outstretched arms of a cross. Carrie's already crying. No, but we feel it. We feel it, right, Mark? Can't forget a good friend saying, Vanessa, you know why Chico Xavier succeeded? Because he practiced humility. Can you imagine the stature of the spirits that were constantly connected to Chico Xavier doing the works? He never displayed one bit of pride or ego. And we're living in an era of the ultimate decision. For many lives, we've been pushing that button of our ego, of our pride. It's like a defense system. People come and threaten us and we defend ourselves by saying, no, but look at me. I'm doing the good. Look at me. Why? Emmanuel explains in previous chapters. He says, we tend to feel that we're good or bad people according to the good and bad feelings and thoughts that we have. So if somebody's saying something that makes us feel bad, it's almost like an instinct we need to show, not so much to others, but even to ourselves, that no, I'm good. Look, I do this, that, and the other. Before we continue the beautiful breakdown and the therapeutic exercises of this chapter, let's say hi to everybody who entered before we said the first hi. Hello. Yay, Leia Severo. You know, Leia, gonna tell you, at the end of this chapter today, inspired by humility, we're gonna share the next book we're gonna study when we finish this book. Be prepared, friends. Be ready, because it's gonna be another journey. Melissa, thank you so much for sharing the definition of covetousness. That's very helpful to the community. We're in a big online classroom. Continents, different countries, different, this diversity makes us stronger. Hello, Marco and Cesa, welcome back. Nice seeing you here. Thank you very much. And Angelira, João Bosco, Patrícia and Tiago, Daniel Castellani and Monica. Hello, friends. Rita de Casa is saying there's someone in the high power of this country who... Okay, Rita. Got you. You're entitled. We're all entitled to our opinions. But let us do the following. Shall we? The first exercise we're gonna do, Mentor Joseph says, and he told that to me first because I am speaking more than anybody here. We're gonna do one exercise in humility. And then I asked him, what is it? He said, we're gonna go through this study without talking about ourselves. Woo! Nobody. Today, just for today. Tomorrow we can resume sharing our stories, but today we're not going to talk about us, okay? We may talk about other people in the good way, but not us. Nothing about us as an exercise. We're going to practice conjugating verbs in other ways, like we, he, she, they, but not I. Okay? That's a good practice. That's a good practice, very practical for everyday life. If we avoid, and Kardec was so aligned with this humility that when you read his talks, there are books like What is Spiritism and others, you can read the way he spoke was always like we. I know there's a cultural setting at the time that explains the reasons why, but he also learned that he was speaking not in his name, and who are we to actually do so, okay? So that's an exercise for today. First of all, what is the definition of humility according to the spirits? He says essentially, and this is in the third paragraph, essentially the acknowledgement of our smallness before the universe. Pause, breathing it out, feeling it. It's not a definition supposed to put us down, undermine who we are, but actually it's a reality check moment, right? Let us think just this, the billions of neurons we have. We're not even talking about the cells of the whole physical body, but just the neurons. And then if we look in the sky and the astronomers tell us about the zillions of constellations, zillions of galaxies, planets, worlds, and we're like, think about you, planet Earth, and you on top. Right? And we look big here if this is the planet, but that's not a fair comparison. It's like Hello Kitty. Beep, 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 beep. Virginia's Hello Kitty. Beep, 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 beep. So tiny, right? Can smash it. No, don't smash it. Right?
Right.
So tiny, so cute. This is us. Ooh. How about that, guys? Yeah, could be. Power, superheroes, it doesn't matter, it's too small. Batman and any other superhero, anything small in this big universe. It's you and I. We're small. We're just like a speck. A speck. No wonder Chico Xavier said he was a speck. Yeah. Dr. Seuss has a beautiful book on this that became a movie. It's a beautiful way for us to think about the reality of our lives. When you watch that movie, that is a cartoon, and then we have the book as well. What is the name of that book again? The Who? Yeah. Yeah, about the Whoville. It's like Who Hears the Who, something like that. Dr. Seuss. And he talks about the whole world that exists inside of a speck. And the big elephant hears that. And people don't believe him. But in other, we could compare it to mediumship, etc. But besides that point, it's about how we exist and how important we are. But the relativity of everything. We're very important. But who are we in this big universe? Can you feel it? Can you feel it, friends? How important it is for us to have constantly that reality check. when people come to us and say, and they don't recognize our efforts, or they go by their way and they don't pay attention to us, and they say, see, nobody pays attention to me. And you say, you know, such a big universe. I'm part of this big universe. So first it brings us up, but at the same time it says, take it easy. You're not the center of the world. Thank God, because if we were, the world would be so unstable, to say the least. It would be a volcano, always like erupting for nothing, right? So thank God we're not the center of the world. Otherwise, people would suffer so much. But actually, people suffer because they depend on us. There are people who do. That's why we need to take it down, right? Take it down. Easy. Hello, Nelissa, Justino, and Karina. You made it. You guys, you and Valeria, so disciplined. And everybody else too. I'm not saying everybody, but they're in Brazil, 3 hours away. Guilherme, you too. Mamma mia. And Joyce is saying that little Daniel loves the movie. So his parents. I know, my friend. We do too. Right? Nelissa. And Rudy. Oh, Rudy Volcano. This Volcano is here too. You're funny, Rudy. It's amazing. Yeah, right? And Fred Gouveia. Now we have to sing because he's going to play for us. So humility. Funny enough, we think something that is so out of our league. But Emmanuel, what amazes in this book is that he begins the chapter with the message. He doesn't philosophize and, oh, but you know, 1 + 1 maybe, and then only at the end of the chapter it says equals 2. No, he says 1 + 1 = 2 in the first paragraph, right away, saying humility is everywhere in nature. Therapeutic question for us. Where in nature do we think humility is? Where? What does he mean? He says, it's in all kingdoms of nature. And it promotes renewal and progress. Where in nature can I find humility? Can we brainstorm a little bit? It's a different exercise. And I think that's one of the reasons why the good spirits brought to us through volitation, Mark and Carol, because we can brainstorm live. Friends, let's brainstorm a little bit. Where in nature can we find examples of humility?
I think everywhere. For example, flowers. They don't say, oh, I'm too beautiful to blossom in the spring. I'd rather blossom in the winter when there are no other flowers so everyone can look at me because I'm more beautiful than everybody else. You never see a flower say that. A flower is a perfect example, like the spirit Juana de Angelis says through Divaldo Franco, a signature of God. Why? Because a flower submits itself to the divine order and the divine law, and it awaits for its calling, and then it opens up to serve. How? By offering its perfume of love.
Beautiful. Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Yeah. And in a way, yes. Hello, Tanya. He says here, the sun, despite its greatness, touches the muddy swamp. And he doesn't say, ugh, swamp. But remember, Shrek is there,
Yeah,
so...
he likes Shrek. The sun likes
Right?
Shrek.
The sun, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me, Shrek. When I am Shrek too, okay? Because we know there are days we're Shrek, there are days we're more like flowers. So flowers, as Carol was saying, they silently perfume the air. They don't announce, here comes my fragrance. Right? Can you imagine? That's what Emmanuel is saying. Here comes my fragrance. And we're like, ooh, nobody does anything because the queen of flowers, that doesn't exist, right? Emmanuel is fascinating in his analogies, like Carol brought to us. Beautiful analogy, like the flowers don't stop blooming because everybody's blooming, so I don't need to bloom. No, when everybody stops, then I'm gonna bloom. How many human beings are like this? Oh, people are already doing this. I don't need, no, why don't you join in? And you know, science shows that actually plants, the same type of plants, of course, they live even better when they are together. Humility, teamwork effort, that feeling of togetherness. It's in nature. But we human beings complicate everything because then we start to complicating what didn't need to be complicated. For example, doing what you have to do. Oh, everybody is drawing. I don't need to draw. I want to be original. I want to be different. I want to draw when people don't draw. And then we don't fulfill our tasks. Right? And Rita Di Cassi is saying the birds too, they sing for us with love and joy, and they don't announce. Hello everybody, I'm gonna sing. They sing. And you know, there's a beautiful lesson about birds. Thank you, Rita, for mentioning that. In the book Our Father, that talks about how they were singing to praise God. So when I hear birds singing, since that book by Mei Mei, through Chico Xavier, that book is in English for everyone, for the children, youth, educators, adults. We remember, everybody whom I know who heard the story hears the birds singing and recalls. It's a way that nature is bringing us the awareness that God is with us, right? Liz Delia, hello Liz Delia. We need to let our hearts bloom. You're so right. And Andrea, and Tiago Tiberio, thank you Tiago. He's saying animals hide from rainstorms whenever they can. Exactly. They know they can't face it, right? It's their humility. You're right. Beautiful examples. Jussar is sharing. Nature works fulfilling their duties before God. This is the greatest display of humility. You're so right. Thank you, Jussara. And Marco is saying, I love the cute ants, always working as a group. You're right. Bees and ants. So true. Many examples, right? And he says, but now he's talking from now on the effects of not allowing humility to take place. He says, if we lack humility, okay, we are going to start creating discordance and all sorts of delinquency. You know why? It's like this. I feel entitled to steal this pencil. It's a sense of entitlement. And that's opposite of humility. Right? The selfishness. Somebody wants this pencil and I say, no, but it's mine. pride. Because if I am humble, I say, why do I deserve this pencil more and better than somebody else? Can we do a therapeutic exercise now? It's very important. Otherwise, these are just mere words, philosophy. But Emmanuel is doing this to us so we can feel it. Can we recognize at least one moment today, of our day today, in which we could have practiced humility, but out of habit we didn't? Thinking, I'm entitled to X, that's why I did Z. Can you recognize it? You don't need to share here, but let's think together. Can we recognize a moment that happened during this day and we could have been humble, practice humility, and we didn't? Okay? I'm not going to talk about myself because Joseph said I can't. Not today. But I'm going to talk about somebody else who told me this story once. It was a mother, and you know, mothers, when it comes at the end of the day, you have little kids and you have to put them to bed. And this mother, she said, Vanessa, so tired. I was so tired. And I was there giving a bath on my children. I was tired. And I realized my husband was watching TV. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, why do I have to be the one doing this, sacrificing myself? Who is he not to be here, blah, blah, blah. So then I started a war at home. A war. I just left my children taking a shower, and then I started venting and said, can you please come here and help me? Why do you think you're entitled to this? And she said, you know, I felt I was right to demand something, and he was wrong for not stepping up to the plate of his role. But later, it was a day that she actually heard about humility in a talk in a Spiritist Center. And she said, you know, today I learned that my way of being with my husband that day was a sign that I was not humble. Because I was demanding something from him, thinking that I was entitled to doing it, to demanding on him. But who are we to demand on anybody? We can request with honey, right, Carol?
Right.
And Mark, with honey, kindly. But we can't do that. We need to tame ourselves. It's literally tame. It's like a wild horse. It comes, it's like lasso. Easy. Don't go crazy. Stay here. So whenever we have that feeling, the eruption coming, cool it down and say, who am I to demand? Sincerely, Mentor Joseph is saying to us, the era we're living now is fantastic. Because we have a catalyst in power that is promoting all this great shift. But not so we demand and feel hatred, but so we roll our sleeves and work more, leave our comfort zone. Yes, thanks to this new government. So we have to work harder. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. The news are telling stories after stories. Pro and against, what do? Read this book. Study it. No fear. He's saying that when we lack humility, that's when discord comes in place. Delinquency comes in place. Right? Tiago is mentioning here that our bodies make us humble. Just think about the every time we need to go to the bathroom or when we're and you're right. Right? Yeah. Tanya Stewart, the sun enlightens and shines everywhere and everyone without asking who they are. Exactly. Yeah. And Fred, humility shares its root with humus, the name given to the muddy soil left behind after the Nile River floods. Thanks to this very fertile soil, abundant agriculture was possible in the middle of the desert in ancient Egypt. This kind of humus can be the soil of our heart. It's very fertile when it's humble. Oh, how beautiful. How interesting. Thank you so much, Fred, for this beautiful sharing. It makes us feel that it's inside of us. 0 to 10. 0 to 10. Where do you think? Do you feel humility is already inside of you? 0, like not at all. 10, oh yeah. And in between gradations, where do you think you are? Feeling that humility is already inside of you. It's not something you buy in a store that Jesus is gonna give to you as a Christmas gift. Or that, one day you're gonna wake up feeling humble. It's an actual conquest of the soul. It's something we conquer. It's something we make an effort for. Where do you think you are? 0 to 10. Do you feel humility is already inside of you? It has to be. It has to be. Because you're divine in nature. I am divine in nature. Everyone is divine. Everyone is divine. Don't listen. Look at our guided model. He never stopped for a minute to be afraid of anything and anyone, but he was humble. Humble to do what he had to do, fulfilling God's will, but never confronting people because he respected people. Justice. In the Spirit's Book by Allan Kardec, 3rd part, 10th law, law of justice, love, and charity. They answered to a question Kardec asked, what is justice according to the spirits? And they said, to respect everyone's rights. And respect doesn't mean agree, consent. It means respect. Like Jesus, he was not fighting Caesar. He was actually helping Caesar, but without coming his way. It's about the zone of influence, your sphere of influence, as George Cow reminded us yesterday, as I mentioned to you. Okay? So it's very important for us to understand that this humility is inside of us. And he says it's a mental reflex. It's a feeling. He says here, this acknowledgement is a feeling. I feel my size in this big universe. And I know it's small, but unique. A beautiful little speck. Can you visualize yourself? Beautiful little speck. Because it's not this body. Though blessed, we're not the body. And he says, if we don't display this emission, mental reflex, because it emits and attracts, it's a mental reflex. Without the mental reflex of humility, people may imagine that they are the exclusive owner of the goods around them. It's like, no, this is mine. An illusion. Emmanuel already said it before. It's disillusion syndrome. This is mine. This is me. This is everything about me. And oblivious to our primary nature spirits, they rule their existence in a selfish way. Friends, this is the description of all of us. Even in the spiritist movement, ourselves, we find it. We don't think of others, think of us. When we start being this, facing the desert of our illusion, we have a mirage telling us, you are super powerful. You are ruler. People are obeying you. And you start dictating. And then one day, the good spirits allow us to see clearly. And when we see, we're desperate, because the consequences is that we find ourselves alone in the middle of a desert. That happened to Marilyn Monroe. Illusions. You're the most beautiful woman. You're the sexiest woman, the most sensual, the this, unique. Nobody has ever done this. She believed it. She attuned with these other minds. Didn't know what was happening to her. She had no control whatsoever. She walked to her death, pushed by the obsessors. She didn't commit suicide. Michael Jackson, and many others. So we need to be careful. As Divaldo Franco said, no matter how much goodness you have done in life, if my pathway, I have to walk 1,000 steps, if I only give 999 steps and I don't give the final one to complete 1,000, I do not complete my task in this reincarnation. So be watchful, prayerful, and humble from beginning to end is a must. Because majority of people are like this. They do one great, amazing world, and when people start telling, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing, they keep looking back. You see what I did? You see what I did? Not to this side, because Jesus is here, this side. You see what I did? You see what I did? You see what I did? And they forget to continue sowing and building up. It's when people believe more their CVs than the divine qualities they need to unfold. Forget about what you've done good in this life. Start a new day thinking, what is the good I'm gonna do today? What I did in the past already gone. It doesn't count anymore. I mean, counts. But not for today. I need to start fresh. Yesterday, okay. The Pyramid of Egypt, okay, great. What about today? You're gonna build what? The pyramid is there. That great nation is over. Where are the great pharaohs? Where are they? We don't even know. Right? We cannot be like this. Because we tend to repeat the mistakes of the past. When we were like this, we would build a church and be reminded by everybody, oh, you're great, you build a church, you build a church, you build a church. And then you sit down and wait for death. How many people did this? We can't do this any longer. What is the good that I'll do today? That's Mentor Joseph saying to us. Start a new day saying, what is the good I'm going to do today? And bring us down, exactly, Tiago. Watch, pray, and be humble. We need humility. But you know, the beauty of this chapter is that it gives us encouragement. Because it says, because people are not humble, they are controlled by the spell of their negative attitudes. They rebel against anyone who tries to convince them otherwise. Seeing that without humility, we're often unable to free ourselves. So he says to us that people who wear the crown of humility will gladly work and serve for the general good. And what's going to happen? They're going to bring harmony to everybody, because they're going to express in themselves the divine laws, which never shows the bounty. Remember, the flowers, they bloom without announcing. They exude their fragrance without announcing. And you're right, Marco, it's a long journey. I think that's the first step to understand, to think for one second that I'm humble, that I would be so presumptuous. It's everyday work, exactly. But you need to believe it's in you, my friend. All of us. You're divine. I am divine. Remember the song? We need to sing that song to make sure we don't forget. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I reincarnated to learn to do good. Right? We are the children of God. We are the children of God. We reincarnated to learn to do good. Right, my friends. Thank you, Mark and Carol. How special is this, right? We love it. We love it. Everybody's like, can't stop loving it. Can't stop loving it. By humility, you think being humble is to be less? Do you think? Deep inside, we do. We do. Because when people start pushing that button, we're like, no, but we grow, like, even physically. You know, that's even the animals. When you study animal behavior, you see it it's a defense mechanism. Even physically. When we study it, we see, for example, cat. If they see something that is threatening, they immediately, their dorsum increases. Even the dogs, right? The ears go up, the tail, and the teeth. It's to show they're bigger than they are. Say, I'm not that small. It's as if they're saying with their body language, I'm not that small. Be careful, watch out, lion. Because the lion and the cat, right? But then the cat observes that it's not going to work, so I better run. I better run. But humility is not subservience. It's actually, I think this is the first time you hear about this. I don't think I've ever read something like this before. And I haven't read all the books of the world. But from the books we've read, it's the first time I read that humility is primarily independence. Humility is inner freedom. Springing from the depths of one's spirit, see, it comes from us. You have humility in you. If you look at yourself in the mirror, say, oh, so much vanity, so much ego, so much pride, but tell yourself, I believe you're humble. I know you're humble. Humility, come out and play. Come out and play. Come, humility, don't be shy. Let it shine. Let it shine. You can be humble and sustain its continuous renewal towards goodness. So he says we need to cultivate it to be free. No wonder. Look at Jesus. Free, independent. Totally connected to God, but independent. Of what? Of the shortcomings of ego, of the imprisonments of attachment. He's going to say we're free because we're not attached. We're not attached to anything. What are people going to think if I do this? And then we feel imprisoned. Jesus, if he thought, what is Caesar going to think? What are the disciples going to think? It's not going to work. I better not even go there. He wouldn't have come. He's our guiding model. Jesus is our guiding model. He has our back. He has our back. He's our guiding model, supporting and saying, go. You know, when parents, that's how I feel Jesus. You know, when you have a child learning to ride a bicycle and you, the parent, is behind it, that's how I feel Jesus saying, go, 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 go. And I'm like, can I go? Can I do it? And I start like, and then when you least expect, he's not there any longer. Like, really? Am I doing this by myself? And he said, yes, you are. You're God's. Let your light shine. Your light. He didn't say it was his. Your light, my light, Mark's light, Carol's light. Your light. Our light. Right, Carol? We have to sing the song. Friends, Tiago is here. He sings a lot, so we're inspired by Tiago now. Sorry, Tiago. So, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Beautiful souls. Beautiful souls here and there and everywhere. Right? Yes, friends. Let it shine. Let it shine. Yes. So this is Jesus saying, go ride the bike. And he's there. And we're like, tick, 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 tick. And soon when we least expect, we're riding it. And he's there. And he's riding his bike. And we're riding ours. And we're going places together. Don't be afraid. Do what you have to do. Don't be afraid. When you're attached without humility, if you are the boss of a company and you start being attached to that role and you don't do what you have to do because of the attachments of that role, what are people going to think of me? What is going to happen to you? Are imprisoned. Free yourself and say, I'm going to love. I'm going to love. I'm going to respect everyone. Oh, but people are not going to think I'm a good boss because I'm being too friendly. Come on. That time is over. That's old school thinking. The new generation is about not being shy, to be true to yourself. Because at the end of the day, Mother Teresa said to us, it's between God and you. If you refrain from doing what you have to do because of any temporary circumstance, like a child, I am a friend of my child. You are a friend of your child. We are all friends of the people around. Authority does not mean that we are not considerate. On the contrary, we need to be more considerate than anything. Right? Beautiful. Thank you, Tiago. He's thankful. Thank you. We passed the test because he's a real musician. So and Fred too. We're good, huh? We're good. I know it's not about us. Rudy, big cup of Guatemalan coffee for Mark and Carol for singing.
Oh,
whoa!
We will share with everyone.
And you know, Mark loves it.
Yeah.
So you got to the point. Boom. And Fred is saying, 2 thumbs up. At least there is one here. Karina, thank you, Maria Edith. Thank you, friends. And you know, he says we need to cultivate. So what is the exercise of the day? Believe it or not, cultivate humility. Go, you know, when you were a kid and you learned about how plants grow by using a little bean, using a little piece of cotton in a little cup, putting the little piece of cotton and then the bean and watching it grow. Do it today, okay? Not today, the 27th, but the 28th, before the next lesson. We're gonna do this and tomorrow we're gonna show to you, okay? It's like exercise Mentor Joseph is giving. Name this plant humility to mark the day when you're going to consciously dedicate yourself and myself and ourselves to cultivating humility, because it's already inside of you, inside of me. Let's put this little bean in a cup and water it and watch it grow. And when it sprouts, say, I am humble. I am humble. I am humble, and I accept my humbleness, humility, because I feel stronger and free. I'm humble and free. Let it go, let it go, let it go of the ego today. Let it go, let it go. Yes, and be free. I'm humble and free. I'm gonna teach Virginia this tomorrow. Thank you, Mentor Joseph. Yes, we need to focus on teaching our kids too. Because this life is it's not like a walk in the park, literally. It's not. So we can't teach them that life is easy, because life is not. We need to say you came to work and to help. To work and to help. We love you. We can sing, we can play, but knowing the focus. So in order to reflect humility from heaven for redemption and beauty, our guiding model was born in a manger. Thank God. Because if he were born in a tower, we would be in trouble. Because not everybody has a tower. Right? If you were born in someplace special, like super special, like, and then we couldn't have it. Anybody can be born in a manger. Anybody. Everybody, actually. And he bid farewell. What a poetic way of saying. He bid farewell. It's deeply moving the way he says it. On the outstretched arms of a cross. Such a model for us. To cultivate humility is to advance without attachment. Any attachment, let it go. Project the best of oneself towards others. Forget evil, friends. Forget. Don't pay attention. Trust the good. Do the good. Trust the good and do the good. Emmanuel says we must seek the good, feel the good, visualize the good, mold our lives to the good. It's a mantra. When you read the news and you say, attachment, oh my God, what's going to happen? No attachment. Trust. Today somebody called us from Brazil saying, oh my God, what's going to happen? Say, only beautiful things. We must seek the good. We must feel the good, visualize the good, and mold our lives to the good, then everything else is just going to fold. Don't worry. Be happy and humble. Happiness depends on humility. You feel good? It's midnight. The bells are ringing, bells are ringing, bells are ringing. Let us wrap it up with the hope of boosting our humility. It begins in a bean. It begins in a bean today, my friends. Let us rejoice because life is beautiful and the challenges of life are so beautiful. We're learning each and every day. When we come back tomorrow, if we think it wasn't enough, Emmanuel is going to relay another feature to make us boost and cultivate humility. You know what it is? Tolerance. Tolerance? Really? Do we need it to live in this life? Well, that's what they say. So let us study it. Meanwhile, let's cultivate our beautiful plant, our beautiful tree of humility. Shall we? Big kiss and a big hug, and don't worry, be happy.
Big hug of gratitude to all of you.
Oh, thank you, friends. Big kiss, and until later today, God willing.